Revolution. In studio, I'm joined by Kasmuel Makori, a revolutionary artist, Shakira Wafula, an active citizen, and as well as Zach Kinuthia, former chief administrative secretary. And just to give you the face of President William Ruto's new cabinet, as Joanne will just display on your screens right now. President Ruto has so far picked additional 20, making 21 the total number of cabinet secretaries who will be in office. If all of them will then be approved by Parliament, Kithure Kindiki will take the Interior Administration of National Government, Soipan Tuya Defense, Alice Wahome Lands, Housing and Public Works, Dr. Julius Ogamba Education, Eden Duale Environment. Of course, those are just some of the nominees that, if approved by Parliament, will take over the dockets as cabinet secretaries after the maiden cabinet was dismissed by President Ruto. Dr. Andrew Karanja, Agriculture, Dr. Deborah Mulongo Baraza, Health, Eric Murithi, Water and Sanitation, Davis Chichir, Roads and Transport, Dr. Margaret Ndungu, Information, Technology and Digital Economy. Of course, those are we can see two faces of women there, that is in the health and ICT. Both of them are doctors, Dr. Deborah Mulongo Baraza and Dr. Margaret Ndungu of ICT. John Mbadi, National Treasury, remember he's the ODM chairperson. Salim Vuria, Investment and Trade, as well Industry. Rebecca Miano, Tourism and Wildlife. Opiyo Ondai, Energy and Petroleum. Kipchumba Murkomen, Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. You know, it's interesting here that we have Kipchumba Murkomen now to lead the youth. I'll be getting the views of my panelists shortly. Still to give you, of course, the faces, or to bring the faces of those who will be in Ruto's cabinet if approved by Parliament. Ali Hassan Joho, Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. Alfred Mutua, Labour and Social Protection. Wycliffe Oparanya, Cooperatives, MSMEs, and of course MSME Development. Justin Muturi, Public Service and Human Capital Development. Stella Soy, Langat, Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage. And as well Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi in the Foreign Affairs docket. Now to Shakira. You know, Murkomen will now be the CS for the youth. Remember, he was among the cabinet secretaries who were under fire when this revolution started. He's right back, and in fact, he's going to represent you, the youth.
For me, I'm a fitness instructor, and I take I'm doing sports science at KU, and sports is the Ministry of Sports is something that I'm very passionate about. So for him, in terms of career, I don't think he is initially qualified to be taking that docket. And then in terms of how he has been relating previously to the youth, and also the fact that he's not somebody who the youth are, you can say we can relate to him at whatever level. He's one who's known to like show off his wealth against a society where a lot of us young people are struggling. He's like he's disconnected from the state of majority of the youth, how we live our day-to-day lives and what we are experiencing. I will just, I think he's not the person who should have been put in this docket in the first place. And the fact that he was part of the previous cabinet, one of the main reasons that we came out to the streets to protest, and then he's recycled, basically recycled waste. We do not need him in the cabinet whatsoever, and especially representing the youth and the sports docket.
Kasmuel, Kipchumba Murkomen is now the CS, or will be the CS for youth. Is President William Ruto rubbing it on your face that this is the man you rejected and this is the man, in fact, from roads, I'm now bringing him to the youth docket? Is President William Ruto rubbing it on the youth's face?
I don't think he's rubbing it in our faces. He's just confirming to us what we've said about him before, that he hires on incompetence. Because Kipchumba Murkomen is neither a youth, nor is he sporty. And there's proof of it on the internet of him being neither. He's not necessarily a good sportsman, and he's not a young person. I would wager that I would make a better CS. I'm more qualified to be a CS for youth and sports than Kipchumba Murkomen.
But he was young in the previous cabinet.
But he's not young now. He would have been given any other docket, but not this very specific docket, because that means that the nation is devoid of good sportsmen and young people of good standing in society. Because remember, he's also... if he is who is going to represent us in cabinet, it means that if our values are not aligned to his, it will make it very difficult for us to make any meaningful progress with him in cabinet. He does not have the interest of the youth at heart. The youth do not agree with him at all, and with the way he's been leading his life. I do not see where the sudden change will have come from. In these past 2 weeks, I have not seen his Damascus Road, apart from the fact that he has been cooking in the village and singing a few songs in the car. I don't think that is enough confirmation of change. But this is just a reflection of what we have been saying about this government, that it hires and fires based on incompetence, based on people it can control, and based on the people who can loot our future the most.
And now to Zach. Do you feel President William Ruto has been held hostage by his comrades?
Yes, indeed. And first of all, you asked Kasmu a very good question. Do you think the president is rubbing it on the faces? Rubbing what? What people don't know is that this is an English euphemism for asking whether you think somebody is rubbing shit on your face. Because, I mean, if somebody is rubbing shit on you, can you take it? And why would somebody do that? So it's a very deep and consequential question. And the answer is, as far as this appointment of Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen to the docket of youth, creative economy, and sports is concerned, he has. Because yes, I like it, that we have no problem with the president reappointing some of these people. It's okay. This is his government. He has to live with it. And we will have to live with that fact until we can make a decision in the near future. But why that docket? This is a man, by the way, if there is a moment the president should sit and ask where the rain started beating us. Some of the people who led this country to go into the direction it has gone, among the three, one was Kipchumba Murkomen. His excessive wastage, opulence, extravagance, and arrogance around the three was phenomenal. 1 million shillings watch. Alafu anasema hiyo hata sikubuki niko na ingine. Meaning, he said, what I had bought with my money, if I remember, is 900,000 shillings. So, the money that he had that was not his, which of course ran into billions, how much more did he spend on those things? The president should have, because he's held hostage by factors like those of people like him, have hired him, but not here, not in this docket. This docket deserved, and this is what I'm saying. Sometimes politics is also perception. If he brought younger people like this, they will do better job in sports and creative economy because they're the one who understand. But to be honest, my brother, I am sure these two gentle souls here understand more about creative economy than you and me. Because yes, we may be around the same age set, but they are not the same group. These people understand things better than we can understand them because of time, technological advancement, and goodwill. So if the president brought a younger soul, a more proactive and more vibrant person in this docket, goodwill should be deduced from it. But what did he do? He has done what he has done. So this is what I think, mostly, that the reappointment of Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen in this will do more harm to the young people than the previous holder of the office, Ababu Namwamba. Ababu Namwamba killed the docket of young people and creative economy. Murkomen has arrived with a white coffin to inter the remains.
Now, the Kenyan political scene has been characterized with double standards and backstabbing. Some of those appointed from the opposition to the CS position had vowed before to never work with President William Ruto on grounds of principles. Listen to that, principles. some terming the Kenya Kwanza government as corrupt. President Ruto, on the other hand, promised his supporters to never allow any handshake. Listen in.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia, hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo. Hawa wananchi walimaliza kazi ya viongozi tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8, wakagawa viti yote. Viti ya viongozi ilimalizika tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8. Wale wakupata MCA walipata. Wale wakupata bunge, wale wakupata sijui governor, wale wakupata rais, imeisha. Ama kuna kiti mulibakisha? Si viti mulimaliza, muligawa ikaisha. Sasa ile kazi imebakia ni kazi ya hawa wananchi. Tujenge barabara, tujenge soko, tupange mambo ya matibabu, tupange mambo ya biashara, tupange mambo ya kilimo, tuondoe njaa. Hiyo ndio kazi imebaki. Ama namna gani jameni?
Tulikuwa tumemwambia ile mzee ya kitendawili ataleta kisirani. Si tulimwambia? Ameletea huyu rais kisirani ati anataka handshake. Mnataka handshake? Sasa rais amekaa ngumu na mimi nikakaa ngumu zaidi. Mnataka tukae ngumu ama tukubali maneno hiyo mtu? Tukae ngumu.
Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. Ati huyu akitaka aje aongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
Hii wameua sasa karibu zaidi ya 100. Mtu kama hawa mikono yao imejaa damu. Mikono yao imejaa damu. Hatuwezi kuongea na hawa watu. Mimi nasema no dialogue. No dialogue. No dialogue. No dialogue. No dialogue. No dialogue. Tunataka action.
Our former boss made the mistake. He brought people into government who did not believe in his vision. So wakakuja wakakoroga serikali yake. We cannot make that mistake. And I want to confirm, because some people wanasema labda president anataka handshake au Rigijidi hataki. Let me tell you, President Ruto is even more strict about this handshake nonsense than I am. He cannot accept. The handshake experiment was the worst thing to happen in the politics of this country. And there is no leader who has won an election with a comfortable margin who will be out of his mind to go and bring his opponents to come to his government.
Shakira, what do you have to say about the bites that we've just watched?
It's at this point, I'll just take it as a joke for entertainment purposes only, and I laugh at it because as a coping mechanism, these politicians keep proving time and time again that there are people who cannot be trusted. They sway whichever way the river pushes them to feel like it's the easier option towards enriching themselves and getting to what it is they need to fulfill about their greed. If these individuals were actually people of goodwill and they wanted what is best for the country, people like Joho, even Oparanya has previously said that he is not willing to work for the government. Well, this is the time where he should be standing up and saying, you know what, let me go back to my shamba and I continue planting my vegetables because I'm not willing to work with this government. But none of these individuals have come up and rejected these positions they've been nominated to. And then the president and the deputy president going against their own word that they are not for serikali ya kugawanya nusu mkate nini. It is just, they are not reliable, they are not trustable people. And it just proves the point for us young people that we need a fresh slot in government. We need to be able to elect to positions people who who are there by merit and people who their history is free of corruption and stealing from people, and serious cases as far as murder charges and things like that. So it is quite unfortunate, really.
Shakira, over 50 Kenyans have lost their lives, the youth. And even the second liberation heroes are slamming Odinga, calling him a traitor. And Kivutha Kibwana specifically saying, may the blood of the young haunt Raila all his life. He clearly stated there that he cannot have a dialogue with those that have blood on their hands, yet he's now with them. Yes. Are you also holding the position of Kibwana?
For sure. We are, the blood of all the individuals we have lost specifically to this movement, and even prior to that, people who've been fighting to liberate our country from the greed of the political class. It's upon each and every individual who is currently in government and people who are pushing to support them. From Ruto himself, his deputy, Raila and his cohort, none of them are free from, none of them can claim to be innocent. And I really hope that, I believe that we as young people, we will not forget. If we are ever in a position where we are able to offer justice to the people who have lost their lives, I believe these are going to be the people in the forefront to be punished. And I do hope we are going to live to witness and experience that day.
Kasmuel, are we having ODM leaders dancing on the grave of over 50 youth that were killed in the wake of these demonstrations? And also from the bites, are politicians eating their own vomit?
Not only are these people dancing on the graves of our fallen comrades, they are pissing and having orgies and a drunken carnival on the graves. It has to be stated as clearly as it is, because we have lost so many lives. And for what, to what end? Because what we've consistently said, and this is the reason why we never wanted to involve the political class in our struggle at all. They came, they took our talking points, went with them to the National Assembly and spewed them as though they were for the Kenyan people. As time unraveled, we realized that even the ones we thought were for us turned out to be the ones who are going to be against us. You can see that if we had put our faith in any particular political party, we would have been in so much trouble. And that's the thing which the leaderless nature of our movement has helped us to avoid. Because remember, what we were doing was not clamoring for positions in government. Let nobody think that because we are not represented in this cabinet that we have lost anything. It was not in our interest at any particular point for us to be in this government. What we wanted were people who would govern us efficiently. We would want a government that would be formed constitutionally, which the president has showed us that he cannot. We wanted a government that was devoid of corruption, which the president has proven to us that he cannot thrive without. We wanted a government that would have been accountable, which the president has shown us that he is not willing to be accountable. As you can see as part of his address, the person who's doing PR and communication is slowly catching up, because they are consistently looking for these, what are these young people saying in media? And I can say this, yesterday you saw Kimani Ichung'wah end his tweet by saying, Kenya ni home, which is a tagline that has been pushed by our sister in the struggle, Mercy Tarus. We've seen even the president now say things like, one life is one too many. We've seen the political class quote me, quote Shakira, quote all these people. They're always looking at whatever the young people are saying, and they've taken them as talking points. Now, the president is saying that, oh, I have heard you and I have heard you. And now he states some of the demands that we wanted, but he does not address the main pain points. He says that he will offer us temporary solutions to permanent problems. And as the sages of our time said, if you continue to give temporary solutions to the poorest of the poor will become the poor, and the poorer will become the poorer of the poorest. It's the common aphorism, and I might take liberty to quote a meme. However, he does not address the issue of police brutality. When we ask IPOA to take to bring killer cops to book, what do they say? That they do not have sufficient evidence. Did they have sufficient evidence for them to arrest that young man who unfortunately found himself on the wrong side of the law previously as a traffic offender? Did they need, what sufficient evidence did they have for them to get into Zimmerman at night? What evidence have they had for the police force to lob tear gas in people's homes? And we're living in a time where we do not have a police service, we have a police force. Well, we've seen mercenaries on streets coming to shoot people. He did not address the particular pain points of the things that we were addressing. And that's why I keep on saying that all these presidential addresses that have been, we do not need dialogue, we do not need talking or being heard. We need him to do the thing that he was actually elected to do, and if I may, that he promised Kenyans he would do. He volunteered for this job. And as the Swahili people say, maji ukiyavulia nguo, lazima uyaoge.
Zach, I understand you have an engagement and you'll be leaving us shortly. You know, moving forward, just as you give your part in short, for the political space, you know, Gachagua, who had rejected, and even said he will camp at Steros to ensure Odinga will not come and join the government, is now facing Odinga. And in fact, even previously he decried budget cuts, funding of his office. And now John Mbadi will be the man that all the exchequer requests will be taken to. What do you say about it?
First of all, I told you last time, in a table of intellectual heavyweights, Gachagua should not be mentioned. And I've put it this very clear everywhere I go. Gachagua appearing on this table negates everything we ever stood for. The integrity of this panel is at stake by the mere fact of mentioning Gachagua, because Geoffrey Gachagua's tongue has been the foremost existential threat the country has ever faced. From his days of derogatory shareholding, to the days of setting traps in State House, to the ways of saying Mount Kenya people are behind William Ruto day and night, from saying that this Kenya is control. Please, let me now come to the point of the flip-flopping tongues of politicians. A man is as good as his word. That's all. Number two, Mahatma Gandhi, in his enumeration of 7 social evils, clearly says that politics without principle is a social evil. That you play politics and you have no principle, stop it. It is going to wound, to hurt, and to kill. And this is what Kenyan political elite seemed to have read wrongly from the great man of India. Because they read him wrongly by saying politics without principle is a social good. That's what they understood Mahatma Gandhi to have said. But he said on the opposite. When you see these people making a promise and following them negating it, what does it tell you? When you see people saying, I won't do, you remember one of the most notorious cabinet minister in Kibaki's time say, oh, I would rather die than resign. So we know he resigned, yet he didn't die. Well. So I'm still studying that phenomenon as a scholar, that I would rather die than resign. So the guy resigned, but did not die. Or if he died, I was not invited in the burial. Well, so our politics, and this is what I would want to part with because of my younger siblings here. Don't go into politics if you have no principle. Because if you go to politics without principle, politics is defined by David Easton as authoritative allocation of resources and values. The values that we want our society to be founded upon, the future of the Kenya we want to build, will only be built by inspiring the generations that will take over after us and after those who are there. But if we don't put values for them, principles will become the pillars of our society. I would want to ask them to be principled, continue the way they have continued. Their generation have seen them. They have presented themselves to the future of the nation the generation want. Their time will come. And when it comes, it may not be now and through this, by God's blessing and some fate, it may not be now because they may be soiled. But please, my sister and my brother, maintain principle.
Thank you so much.
We have played politics with principle. Sometimes we have lost ourselves, but it doesn't get into your conscience.
We have to
It
take a
always
commercial
kill you.
break.
Thank you very much.
That is Zach Kinudhia, of the former Chief Administrative Secretary, who has joined us in studio. I'll still be having Kasmuel Makori and, of course, Shakira Wafula right here. We take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.